What's going on, beautiful people? I hope you guys are doing phenomenal today. I am Carrington Brown, your relationship expert, and today we're going to be answering a question that an individual emailed me regarding cheating. Let's talk about it. So the message says, I was in a 4-year relationship before I got saved. It ended badly because of cheating. He was messaging other girls online. In the year we've been apart, I got saved and I'm on a daily walk with God. Then he reached out to me at the beginning of this year and we started courting. God really changed both of our hearts. We both forgave each other, became more loving, patient, and learned how to be intimate in other ways besides physical. It has been amazing. Although recently I saw on his phone that he flirted with someone else online during our relationship, this is exactly what happened before. I confronted him and he admitted that he fell into temptation once again. He opened up about struggling with lust and not being able to have certain types of conversations with me due to trying to stay pure in our relationship. The conversation he had with this girl was sporadic and very brief. The intention was still there though. I love this man so much and I believe God gave me various confirmations about us, but I have so much anger towards him right now. When we got back together, I held on to the fact that he is a new creation, but now this has happened once again. Am I silly to even think about being with him again? He's a cheater, always a cheater. Did I hear God wrong? What would be your advice? So first things first, thank you so much for sending in this email. I'm grateful that you trust me with advising you with it. So the first thing is this. One of the questions that you said is, did I hear God wrong? And so the challenge with hearing God is that, one, he speaks to us in multiple ways. Two, we have to be very intentional about saying God told us something because of the question mark that may arise of, hey, did God really say that? But along with that, when we look at the Old Testament of the Bible, when people would claim God said something, people will wait around to see if it actually happens. Because if God said it, he can't lie, so it has to happen. And if it didn't happen, they would be stoned to death. So we want to be careful about saying that. The last thing is this. The reason why you want to be careful about saying that God told you something regarding romantic relationships, especially when you're not seeing credentials of that, is a lot of times your feelings would be the voice that you can define as God, right? If your feelings may create thoughts, your emotions may create thoughts that you want to be said, that you want to be felt, that you want to be experienced, and you can easily define it as God. So, first off, let's just start there. We want to be intentional about not saying God said something until we're for sure 100% that God said. Next thing is this. You asked the question of, hey, am I silly thinking about being with this individual again? Is a cheater always a cheater? So here's the thing. A cheater is not always a cheater if they're intentional about not becoming a cheater, right? But one thing that has to happen also is that you have to stop defining him as a cheater, right? And the reason why is because when you call somebody a cheater, you're giving them a title, you're giving them a role, you're giving them a position, you're saying this is who they are. Right. So you need to stop defining him as a cheater and saying he's an individual that cheated. Right. Because then you're saying the way that I said it is, hey, he's a person who's acting in a specific way rather than this is how his identity and who he is. Right. Because when we define somebody by something, that's going to determine and dictate our perspective on that person and our engagement, our experiences with them. You said that you guys were together for 4 years, separated for a year, came back together, right? But here's the thing. Anytime you separate from somebody in a relationship, especially for a reason like cheating, you don't just wait some time and then get back together, right? You have to be intentional about assessing the level of work that they've actually been doing in that time apart, right? Side note, I'm not really an advocate of going backwards in relationships, and I learned that from my mama. I'm not an advocate of when you experience a relationship with somebody and something goes left and you guys separate. I'm not an advocate of going back because I believe that, hey, a lot of times you learn everything that you need to learn that first go around. And then along with that, I believe that the reason why we shouldn't go backwards is because the reason why we were attracted to that person and they were attracted to us is because of the to an extent, lower level version of us that we were then in comparison to who we are now. So as we grow ourselves and develop ourselves, we have to be intentional about making sure that we're not choosing relationships that are attractive to the old version of us or the old desires or the old perspective or the old wounds of us, right? So this individual expressed to you, once you confronted him after you found out he was doing the same thing again, that he was tempted to do it, and he still deals with he struggles with lust, right? So here's the thing: lust is not a struggle that you can get over in a relationship. A lot of times, like if you're married, then it's like, okay, boom, like I can do some. We can come together as a unit because as my wife, you're my favorite. And God hears my prayers when we good. As a unit, let's partner on actually doing this, right? But if you're not married, I believe that all lust should be tackled single, right, from a relationship, so individually from a romantic relationship perspective, but then along with that as a group, right, with your friends. So if you battle with lust, I think that you should partner with God, partner with yourself, being by yourself romantically, then also partner with your friends, your brothers, the kings as a man, the kings that are around you, to fast and pray and then give you guidance, give you directions, be accountable for you. You need to seek some therapy, seek some coaching to get to the core of why you're seeking fulfillment in the way that you're actually doing for the actual desire, right? Because what my pastor used to say, what he said before is that pornography is an illogical solution to a logical problem. The desire to express ourselves sexually is logical. But pursuing it in a lustful way is illogical, whether it's porn, masturbation, cheating, any of that, right? So another big thing that sticks out to me in the situation is that he feels like he can't have specific conversations with you due to his desire to stay pure. So when we look at relationships, people always say, hey, the cliche, communication is key. And that's true, but we have to specify that not just communication, because people talk all the time and ain't doing nothing, but clear, transparent, and open communication is key. Because if you're building a relationship with somebody that you desire to be married to, you guys have to create an environment of transparent communication, because that person has to be your best friend, right? That means that once you become married, the two become one flesh, which means that everything that you're going through, she's going through, or he's going through. Everything that you're battling with, she's battling with, or he's battling with. So you can't fight something by yourself when it comes to marriage. And so as you're building a relationship with somebody, you want to be intentional about opening the door for those transparent conversations so that when you get married, it'll be the norm. It'll be a lot easier for you to actually have. So that's my perspective on just the situation in general. Now, here's my advice for you, because you said, what would be my advice about the situation? My advice regarding the situation is to separate yourself from this individual because they still have work to do on themselves. If an individual is still doing things that they've done before, they're not in a position to actually thrive in a relationship with you and be able to focus on dealing with and healing from what they need to deal with and heal from. And so because there is no covenant, because there is no marriage, because there are no kids, then you have to, because you said you love him so much, if you really love him, one of the best ways to love people is to separate yourself from them. Because when you separate yourself from people, it gives them the space and the room and the opportunity to actually grow, develop, and just progress themselves in ways that they could in a relationship with somebody else. So my advice for you would be to successfully, to respectfully, there we go, bow out of this situation, allow this individual to grow himself as an individual and as a single man to pursue some healing and some maturity, right, from a relational perspective, an emotional and a mental perspective, so that he doesn't do these things again, whether it be in a relationship with you or a relationship with somebody else, right? So that would be my advice. Separate yourself, focus on you, prioritize you. But then along with that, as you're focusing on you, be intentional about creating a clear vision for marriage and creating you some non-negotiables so that as you transition into a relationship, whether it be with him again, which I don't advise that you do, or with somebody else in the future, you have a foundation, you have a standard or foundational expectations in place that'll determine and dictate whether or not you actually should be in this relationship with this person. All right. So that would be my advice. I hope this served you and everybody else that's watching this. If you don't already follow me on all social media platforms, I'm at TheCarringtonBrown. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe to this situation, and do me a favor. Answer this question, right? When you watch this, answer this question. What would be your advice to her? Right? Would you advise that she stay in this relationship? Would you advise that she continue giving him chances? Like, what would you advise that she do in this situation? Comment below and let me know. I hope y'all have a blessed, phenomenal, productive day. And I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace out.